Captain Jake Morrison felt the ship shake around him. The lights on the bridge went dark for a moment, then came back on with a red glow. Something was very wrong. "What happened?" Jake asked as he gripped his chair. The UES Liberty had been making a simple jump to Alpha Centauri. It should have been easy. They had done this kind of jump hundreds of times before. "I don't know, Captain," said Lieutenant Alex Turner from his station. His young face looked worried. "All our readings are wrong, very wrong." Dr. Lisa Parker looked up from her science station. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. "Captain, this can't be right. The stars, they're all different. We're not where we should be." Commander Ryan Walsh stood up from his chair. His face was calm, but Jake could see the concern in his eyes. "How different, Doctor?" Lisa's voice was quiet. "We're about 40,000 light years from where we started. That's impossible. Our jump drive can't go that far." The bridge went silent. Jake felt his stomach drop. 40,000 light years meant they were nowhere near home. They were somewhere in the outer edge of the galaxy, far from any known human colony. "Maria!" Jake called to the chief engineer through the comm system. "Tell me our engines are working." Chief Engineer Maria Santos's voice came back tired and confused. "The engines are fine, Captain, but I can't explain what happened. The jump drive worked normally, but somehow we ended up here." Jake looked at the main screen. Space looked different here. There were strange purple and blue clouds of gas everywhere. The stars seemed dimmer, and there was something else, something that made his skin feel cold. "Alex, try to contact Earth. Send our position and ask for help," Jake ordered. "Yes, sir." Alex worked at his station for several minutes. Then he looked up with a worried face. "Captain, I can't reach anyone. We're too far away. Even our strongest signals won't reach Earth from here." Dr. Parker spoke up again. "Captain, I'm reading massive structures ahead. They're not natural. Someone built them." Jake felt his heart beat faster. "Show me." The main screen changed. What they saw made everyone stop breathing. Huge metal structures floated in space. They were bigger than any space station Jake had ever seen. Some looked like giant rings. Others looked like twisted towers reaching into space. They were clearly very old, but they still worked. Lights moved along their surfaces. "My God," whispered Ryan. "Who built these?" Before anyone could answer, Alex's station began beeping loudly. "Captain, I'm getting signals. Multiple ships are coming toward us. Fast!" "Are they human?" Jake asked, though he already knew the answer. "No, sir. The ships don't match any design in our database. They're alien." Jake had dreamed of this moment his whole life. First contact with alien life, but not like this. Not when they were lost and far from home. "Red alert," Jake said. "All hands to battle stations, but do not fire unless they fire first. We're in their space now." The alien ships appeared on screen minutes later. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. The ships looked like they were made of crystal and metal mixed together. They moved in perfect formation, like they were dancing through space. "Incoming message, Captain," Alex said. "They're trying to talk to us." "Put it through." The screen flickered, and then an alien face appeared. It looked almost human, but its skin was blue and its eyes were larger. When it spoke, its voice was deep and musical. "Unknown vessel, you have entered a forbidden zone. State your identity and explain how you passed through our barriers. No ship has entered this space for 3,000 years." Jake stood up straight. This was it. The moment that would change everything for humanity. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth ship Liberty. We are humans from the planet Earth. We did not mean to enter your space. Our navigation systems failed during a routine jump." The alien's large eyes grew even larger. "Humans? Earth? These names are not in our records. And you say your navigation failed? That is impossible. The barriers around this zone cannot be crossed by accident." "What barriers?" Lisa asked quietly, but Jake motioned for her to stay quiet. The alien continued. "I am Admiral Keth Var of the Zephyrian Patrol Fleet. By order of the Galactic Council, this zone has been sealed for the safety of all life in the galaxy. No ship may enter, no ship may leave." Jake felt ice in his stomach. "Admiral, we are explorers from Earth. We have never heard of your Galactic Council. We are new to space travel. Please, can you help us understand what has happened? Admiral Kethvar was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke again, and his voice was troubled. If what you say is true, then something very dangerous has happened. The barriers were created by 7 different species working together. They have never failed before. What are you keeping in here? Ryan asked. The Admiral's face grew dark. Things that should never wake up. Things that ate stars and destroyed worlds before we stopped them. This is the Veil Nebula, human. It is a prison for the most dangerous beings the galaxy has ever known. Jake felt the blood leave his face. They weren't just lost. They were trapped in a cosmic jail with monsters. Admiral, Jake said carefully, we didn't know about any of this. Can you help us leave this zone? I do not know if that is possible now. Your arrival here has triggered warning systems that have been quiet for thousands of years. Deep in the nebula, things are waking up. Things that have been sleeping since before your species learned to make fire. As if to prove his point, new alarms began ringing on the Liberty's bridge. Dr. Parker's voice was full of fear. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from deep in the nebula. Something big is moving out there. Admiral Kethvar's image flickered with static. The sleepers stir. Your ship has somehow awakened them. This should be impossible. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for orders. They trusted him to get them home safely. But how could he promise that when he didn't even understand what was happening? Admiral, Jake said, we need to talk more about this. Can we meet in person? Yes, the Admiral replied. But know this, humans of Earth. Your arrival here may have doomed us all. The screen went dark, leaving the crew of the Liberty alone with the growing realization that they had stumbled into something far bigger and more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. The meeting room aboard Admiral Kethvar's ship was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. Strange symbols moved across the surfaces like water flowing uphill. The air smelled like rain and electricity. Jake sat at a table that seemed to grow from the floor itself. With him were Dr. Lisa Parker, Commander Ryan Walsh, and Dr. Sam Rodriguez, the ship's historian. Across from them sat Admiral Kethvar and 3 other aliens Jake had never seen before. One looked like a tall, thin tree with silver bark and leaves that glowed softly. Another was covered in scales that changed color as it moved. The third looked almost like a jellyfish floating in the air, its transparent body filled with swirling lights. These are my advisors, Admiral Kethvar explained. Tree Singer Velthara from the Council of Wisdom, Scalefather Mordex from the Warrior Clans, and Mindweaver Silara from the Thought Collective. Jake nodded to each of them. Thank you for meeting with us. We need to understand what's happening here. Admiral Kethvar's blue face looked tired. First, tell me more about your species. We have never heard of humans or Earth. How long have you been traveling between stars? Only about 200 years, Dr. Rodriguez answered. We've only recently developed faster-than-light travel. This was supposed to be a simple exploration mission. The jellyfish-like being called Silara floated closer. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music in Jake's head. 200 years? How is this possible? Our records show all intelligent species in the galaxy. Maybe we're from outside your usual area, Lisa suggested. Earth is in what we call the Orion arm of the galaxy. Tree Singer Velthara's leaves rustled with what might have been surprise. The Orion arm has been empty of intelligent life for millions of years. We checked it many times. Well, we're there now, Ryan said simply. Admiral Kethvar leaned forward. This is very strange, but there are more important questions. Tell me about your faster-than-light drive. How does it work? Lisa and Dr. Rodriguez looked at each other. Lisa spoke carefully. We call it a quantum jump drive. It moves the ship through what we call hyperspace. We don't fully understand how it works, but it's based on quantum physics. The aliens all looked shocked. Scalefather Mordex's scales turned bright red. Quantum jumping? That technology is forbidden. No species has used it for thousands of years. Why is it forbidden? Jake asked. Admiral Kethvar stood up and began pacing. His tall form moved with grace even though he looked worried. Because quantum jumping touches the same layer of reality that the Devourers use to move. It's how they travel between dimensions. The Devourers? Jake felt that cold feeling in his stomach again. The Galactic Council meeting was like nothing Jake had ever imagined. 47 different species gathered on a massive space station at the edge of the Veil Nebula. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Jake couldn't even guess how they moved or thought. Jake stood in the center of a huge circular room. Above him, holographic images of alien leaders floated in the air. Some were angry, some looked afraid, and others seemed curious about the humans who had accidentally broken into their most dangerous prison. "The human ship must be destroyed," said a creature that looked like a living rock with crystals growing from its surface. "Their technology is too dangerous to allow." "That would be murder," argued another alien who looked like a giant butterfly with metal wings. They did not know what they were doing. Jake stepped forward. "Council members, we understand your fear, but destroying us won't solve the problem. Other human ships might arrive here by accident too. We need to work together to find a better solution." A voice spoke from above, ancient and tired. "The human speaks wisdom. Destruction is not always the answer." Everyone in the room became quiet. Slowly, a figure descended from the ceiling. It was unlike anything Jake had seen before. The being looked like it was made of starlight and shadow mixed together. It was very old, older than anything Jake could imagine. "I am Keeper Zarthel," the ancient being said. "I was part of the original team that built the barriers around this zone. I have been sleeping for 3,000 years, waiting for this day." Admiral Kethvar bowed his head. "Keeper, we are honored by your presence. Can you help us understand what is happening?" Keeper Zarthel floated closer to Jake. When it spoke, its voice echoed with the weight of ages. "The humans' arrival was not an accident. It was inevitable. Their quantum technology works on the same principles as ancient devourer science, but they discovered it independently." "What does that mean?" Dr. Lisa Parker asked. She had been allowed to join the council meeting as humanity's science representative. "It means your species and the devourers are connected in ways you do not understand," the keeper replied. "Your minds work on similar quantum frequencies. This is why your ship could pass through our barriers." A new voice spoke from the council gallery. "Keeper, are you saying the humans are related to the devourers?" "Not related," Keeper Zarthel said, "but compatible. Human consciousness operates on quantum levels that most species cannot reach. This makes you natural communicators with quantum-based life forms." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "You're saying we can talk to the devourers?" "More than talk," the keeper said. "You can understand them, and they can understand you. This is both a great gift and a terrible danger." Dr. Parker stepped forward. "Keeper, could you show us the historical records? We need to understand what really happened 3,000 years ago." Keeper Zarthol gestured, and the air in the room filled with holographic images. Jake watched as stars and planets appeared around them, showing events from long ago. "The Devourers came from a universe that was dying," the keeper explained. "Their home reality was running out of energy. They learned to travel between dimensions to find new sources of power." The images showed massive creatures moving through space. They looked like living energy with tentacles made of light. Where they went, stars dimmed and planets turned to dust. They did not realize that some of the energy sources they found were living worlds, the keeper continued. To them, a planet with life and a dead rock both looked the same. They could not detect the difference. "So they weren't trying to hurt anyone?" Jake asked. "No, but the result was the same. Entire civilizations died. The galaxy began to empty as species fled from the approaching devourers." The images changed, showing great battles in space. Ships from many different species fought against the energy beings, but their weapons had no effect. "We could not fight them with weapons," the keeper said, "so we chose to contain them instead. 7 species worked together to create quantum barriers that would trap the Devourers in this nebula. What happened to the Devourers after you trapped them? Dr. Parker asked. The Keeper's form grew dimmer. They have been slowly dying. Cut off from new energy sources, they entered a deep sleep to conserve what life they had left. We thought they would eventually fade away completely. Jake looked around the council chamber. Many of the aliens were watching him carefully, waiting to see how he would react to this information. Keeper, Jake said slowly, if the Devourers were just trying to survive, and if they didn't mean to hurt anyone, then maybe there's another solution. Maybe we can help them find a way to live without destroying other life. Several council members began arguing loudly. Some thought Jake was crazy for suggesting they help the Devourers. Others seemed interested in the idea. Silence, Keeper Zarthal said, and everyone became quiet. The human speaks of something we never considered. In our fear, we chose imprisonment over communication. Perhaps that was a mistake. But how could we communicate with them? Asked Admiral Kethvar. They think in ways we cannot understand. The humans can understand them, the Keeper said. Their quantum consciousness is the bridge we never had. Before anyone could respond, new alarms began ringing throughout the space station. A voice spoke over the communication system. All council members, we have an emergency. The containment field around Sector 7 has failed. A Devourer entity has broken free. The holographic displays in the chamber changed to show images from space. A massive creature made of swirling energy was moving through the nebula. Where it passed, space itself seemed to bend and twist. It's heading for the inhabited systems, Admiral Kethvar said. At its current speed, it will reach the nearest colony world in 6 hours. Jake felt the weight of everyone's stares. What do you want us to do? Keeper Zarthal floated closer to him. Captain Morrison, your ship may be the only thing that can communicate with that creature. Are you willing to try? Jake looked at Dr. Parker, who nodded slightly. He thought about his crew aboard the Liberty, and about Earth, somewhere far away. Then he thought about all the innocent people in the galaxy who might die if the Devourers broke free. Yes, he said. We'll try. But I want something in return. What? Asked the rock-like council member who had wanted to destroy the human ship. If we can solve this problem, I want the council to help humanity join the galactic community. We want to be part of something bigger than just our own world. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members were excited by the idea, while others were horrified at the thought of letting quantum-capable humans spread throughout the galaxy. Keeper Zarthal raised a hand for silence. The humans' request is fair. If they can end 3,000 years of fear and death, they deserve a place among us. Jake nodded. Then let's go talk to a Devourer. As they prepared to leave the council station, Jake couldn't help but wonder if he was making the biggest mistake in human history. But looking at the fear in the alien faces around him, he knew he had to try. Somewhere in the depths of space, an ancient creature that had been sleeping for 3,000 years was finally free. And it was very, very hungry. The Liberty moved through space toward the escaped Devourer. Jake stood on the bridge, watching the creature on the main screen. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The being looked like a storm made of pure energy, with tentacles of light that reached out for miles in every direction. Captain, Dr. Lisa Parker said from her station, I'm reading massive energy discharges from the creature. It's pulling power from everything around it. Stellar radiation, cosmic background energy, even the quantum foam of empty space. Is it destroying anything? Jake asked. Not yet, Lisa replied. But it's getting stronger. The more energy it absorbs, the larger it becomes. Commander Ryan Walsh looked up from his tactical station. Sir, we're receiving messages from the Galactic Council fleet. They're demanding that we stay back and let them handle this. What do they plan to do? Jake asked. They want to use quantum torpedoes to destroy the creature, Ryan said. Admiral Kethvar is arguing with them, but he's being overruled. Jake felt his stomach tighten. Get me a channel to the Council fleet. The main screen split to show Admiral Kethvar's blue face. Behind him, Jake could see other alien officers arguing loudly. Captain Morrison, the Admiral said, the Council commanders want to attack immediately. They believe the Devourer is too dangerous to try communication. Admiral, give us a chance, Jake said. If we can talk to this creature, maybe we can solve this without violence. A new voice spoke from off-screen. The humans will fail, and then the creature will be too strong to stop. We must act now. Who is that? Jake asked. Admiral Kethvar's face looked troubled. Admiral Torvex of the War Fleet. He commands the quantum torpedo ships. Let me talk to him, Jake said. The screen changed to show an alien that looked like a giant insect with metal armor covering its body. Its eyes were like black diamonds, and when it spoke, its voice buzzed like machinery. Human Captain, Admiral Torvex said. Your species has caused enough trouble. Stand aside while we clean up this mess. Admiral Torvex, Jake said carefully. If you attack that creature, you might make it angry. And if it gets angry, it might call for help from the other devourers still sleeping in the nebula. The insect-like alien's eyes flashed. Then we will destroy them all. The War Fleet has been preparing for this day for 3,000 years. And how many people will die while you're fighting them? Jake asked. Admiral Torvex was quiet for a moment. That is not important. What matters is protecting the galaxy. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. Every life is important. Give us 1 hour to try communication. You have 30 minutes, Admiral Torvex said. Then we attack. The screen went dark. Jake turned to his crew. Lisa, can you set up a quantum communication link with that creature? I think so, she said. But Captain, linking our minds with an alien entity could be very dangerous. We don't know what it might do to our brains. What choice do we have? Jake asked. Dr. Sam Rodriguez spoke up from his station. Captain, I've been studying the historical records that Keeper Zarthel showed us. I think I understand something important about the Devourers. What? They're not just energy beings, Sam said. They're collective consciousness entities. Each individual devourer is actually thousands of minds working together. When they communicate, they share all their thoughts and memories at once. Jake felt cold. So if we link with one of them, we'll experience everything it has experienced for the last 3,000 years, Sam finished. All the loneliness, all the pain of being trapped, all the slow dying. Lieutenant Alex Turner looked up from his communication station. Sir, should I contact Earth? Let them know what we're trying to do? Jake thought about it. No. If this goes wrong, I don't want Earth to blame themselves. This is our choice. Captain, Lisa said, the quantum link is ready. But I need to warn you. Once we make contact, there's no way to know how long the connection will last. You could be linked with that creature for minutes or hours. Jake nodded. Do it. Lisa activated the quantum communication array. At first, nothing happened. Then Jake felt something touch his mind. It was like a whisper made of starlight, ancient and tired beyond imagination. The voice that spoke in Jake's head was not one voice, but thousands, all speaking together in perfect harmony. Who calls to us? Who speaks in the old tongue of quantum thought? Jake tried to respond with his thoughts. I am Jake Morrison. I'm from a species called humans. We want to talk to you. The response came like a wave of emotion that nearly knocked Jake to his knees. Joy, surprise, hope, and overwhelming loneliness all crashed into his mind at once. You are like us? You touch the quantum realm with your thoughts? Yes, Jake managed to think back. We didn't know you existed until recently. We came here by accident. Accident? The collective voice sounded confused. No, not accident. The quantum currents brought you here. They always bring compatible minds together eventually. Jake felt the creature's memories flowing into his mind. He saw its home universe, dying and cold. He felt the desperate journey through dimensions, searching for energy to survive. He experienced the shock and confusion when the galaxy's species attacked them. You were just trying to live, Jake said out loud. Yes, the voice replied sadly. We did not understand that the energy sources we found were alive. Your word for it is alive. We have no word for that concept. In our universe, there was only energy that moved and energy that did not move. Dr. Parker looked at Jake with concern. Captain, your vital signs are spiking. The mental connection is putting strain on your brain. Jake waved her away. He was beginning to understand something important. You can't see the difference between living things and non-living things, he said to the creature. Correct. All matter is the same to us. But now, through your mind, we begin to see what you call life. It is beautiful, and we are horrified by what we have done. Jake felt tears on his face as the creature's grief flowed through him. 3,000 years of guilt and sorrow for worlds they had unknowingly destroyed. There has to be a way to fix this, Jake said. A way for you to survive without hurting anyone. Perhaps, the voice replied. But first you must know, we are dying. The barriers that contain us also cut us off from energy. We cannot survive much longer. How long? Jake asked. Days, maybe weeks. And when we die, the shock of our death will wake all the others. They will break free in their final madness, and they will consume everything before they too die. Jake's blood went cold. All of them? How many? Millions. Before Jake could respond, Ryan's voice cut through his concentration. Captain, the war fleet is moving to attack position. Admiral Torvex isn't waiting for the 30 minutes to be up. Jake looked at the screen and saw dozens of alien warships surrounding the Devourer. Their weapons were charging with deadly energy. Wait, Jake called out to Admiral Torvex. I'm in communication with the creature. I'm learning things that could change everything. Time is up, human, Admiral Torvex replied. All ships, fire quantum torpedoes. The space around the Devourer lit up with explosions, but instead of destroying the creature, the attack seemed to make it larger and brighter. In Jake's mind, the collective voice screamed in pain and anger. They attack us, just like before. They want us to die. No, wait, Jake thought desperately. They're afraid. They don't understand. But it was too late. The Devourer's pain was being broadcast through quantum space to every sleeping member of its species. Deep in the nebula, ancient minds began to stir. Captain, Lisa said with terror in her voice, I'm reading massive energy surges throughout the nebula. The other Devourers are waking up. Jake realized with horror that the galaxy's attempt to destroy one creature had just triggered the awakening of millions more. The Veil Nebula was waking up. On the Liberty's bridge, Jake watched in horror as energy signatures appeared throughout the massive cloud of gas and dust. Millions of Devourers were stirring from their 3,000-year sleep, and they were angry. Captain, Dr. Lisa Parker said, her voice shaking. I'm reading quantum disruptions across 17 star systems. The awakening Devourers are starting to feed again. Jake was still connected to the first Devourer through the quantum link. Its collective voice filled his mind with pain and rage. They hurt us. They break their promises. The small ones want us to die. Please, Jake thought desperately. Not all of us are the same. Some of us want to help you. Help? The voice was bitter now. How can you help? We are dying, and when we die, we will take this galaxy with us in our final hunger. Admiral Torvex's face appeared on the main screen. His insect-like features showed no emotion. Human Captain, your attempt at communication has failed. The Warfleet will now proceed with total elimination of all Devourer entities. You can't fight millions of them, Jake shouted. You saw what happened when you attacked just one. Then we will die fighting, Admiral Torvex replied. It is better than letting them consume the galaxy. Jake turned to his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for him to somehow fix an impossible situation. He thought about Earth, so far away. He thought about all the innocent people in the galaxy who would die if this went wrong. Lisa, he said quietly, is there a way to expand the quantum link, to connect with more Devourers at once? Captain, the link with just one is already putting dangerous strain on your brain. Connecting with more could kill you. What if we shared the load? Jake asked. What if the whole crew linked together to handle the connection? Lisa's eyes widened. That might work. But it would be incredibly risky. We'd all be sharing our consciousness with alien minds. We might not be able to come back from that. Commander Ryan Walsh stepped forward. Captain, If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, count me in. And me, said Dr. Sam Rodriguez. Lieutenant Alex Turner nodded. Yes, sir, whatever you need. Even Chief Engineer Maria Santos spoke up through the comm system. I'm ready, Captain. We're all in this together. Jake felt a warm feeling in his chest. His crew was willing to risk everything just because they trusted him. Lisa, set up a group quantum link, connect us to as many devourers as possible. This is insane, Admiral Kethvar's voice came through the comm. Captain Morrison, you're talking about linking human minds directly with millions of alien consciousnesses. The feedback could destroy your brains. Admiral, Jake said, do you have a better idea? There was silence for a moment. Then Keeper Zarthul's ancient voice spoke. I will help anchor the link. My mind is old and strong. I can provide stability for the connection. Keeper, that's not necessary, Jake said. Yes, it is, the ancient being replied. This is my chance to fix a mistake that has haunted me for 3,000 years. Lisa worked quickly at her station. Link established. All crew members, place your hands on the quantum interface panels. This is going to feel very strange. Jake put his hand on the glowing panel next to his captain's chair. Immediately, he felt his consciousness expand. He could sense his crew members' thoughts, their fears and hopes all mixed together. And beyond that, he felt something vast and ancient reaching out to touch their minds. The collective voice of the Devourers filled the linked consciousness of the Liberty's crew. But now it wasn't just one voice. It was millions, all speaking at once. The sound was overwhelming, like standing inside a hurricane made of thoughts. Who are you? The voices asked. Why do you come to us in our final hour? Jake tried to speak for all humanity. We are humans. We're new to the galaxy. We didn't know about your pain until now. New? The voices seemed confused. How can you be new? You touch the quantum realm like we do. We learned it on our own, Jake explained. We didn't know anyone else could do it. He felt surprise flow through the vast collective mind. You discovered quantum consciousness independently? That is, rare. Very rare. Dr. Parker's thoughts joined the conversation. We want to understand you. In our short time in space, we've learned that understanding is better than fighting. Understanding, the voices repeated. Yes, we never had understanding with the others. They feared us, and we could not comprehend their fear. Jake felt an idea forming. It was crazy and dangerous, but it might work. What if we could help you find a new home? He asked. A place where you could live without threatening other species? Impossible, the voices replied. There is no such place in this universe. All energy sources here are connected to what you call life. Then what about a different universe? Jake suggested. The collective consciousness went silent for a moment. When the voices returned, they carried a note of hope. You think such a thing is possible? Jake looked at his crew through their shared consciousness. Dr. Rodriguez was excited by the historical implications. Lisa was running calculations in her head. Even Ryan was thinking tactically about how to make it work. Our quantum drive already proved that travel between realities is possible, Jake said. What if we could expand that technology, create permanent gateways to uninhabited universes? The energy required would be enormous, the voices said. You are energy, Jake pointed out. If you helped us build the gateways, you could power them with your own life force. And once they're open, you could travel to universes where there's plenty of energy but no life to accidentally harm. The idea spread through the collective consciousness like wildfire. Jake felt excitement building among the Devourers for the first time in 3,000 years. This could work, the voices said, but we would need help. Your technology and ours working together. Captain, Admiral Kethvar's voice broke into the quantum link. The war fleet is moving to surround the entire nebula. Admiral Torvex has called for reinforcements from 6 different species. They plan to use planet-killer weapons. Jake felt panic from his crew, but he forced himself to stay calm. We need time to work on this solution. Can you buy us some time? I'll try, the Admiral replied. Through the quantum link, Jake felt the Devourers discussing the idea among themselves. Their vast collective intelligence was running through thousands of possibilities in seconds. "We accept your proposal," the voices finally said. "But you must understand, if this fails, our death will release enough energy to destroy half the galaxy." "Then we better not fail," Jake said. For the next 6 hours, human and devourer minds worked together like never before. The Liberty's computers processed calculations faster than ever before, guided by alien intelligence that understood the quantum realm better than any other species in the galaxy. Slowly, impossibly, a plan took shape. Using human quantum drive technology as a base, and powered by devourer energy manipulation, they could create stable portals to empty universes. The process would take most of the devourer's remaining life force, but it would give them access to unlimited energy sources in realities where no other life existed. "It's working," Lisa said, her voice filled with wonder. "The equations are balancing out. This could actually work." But as they worked, the war fleet grew larger. Ships from across the galaxy arrived at the edge of the nebula, all armed with weapons designed to destroy entire worlds. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Torvek's voice came through the comm, cold and final. "You have 1 hour to clear the area, then we begin total bombardment." Jake looked at his crew. They were exhausted from hours of quantum linking, but their eyes were determined. "We need more time," he said. "Time is up," Admiral Torvex replied. That's when Keeper Zarthol did something incredible. The ancient being expanded its consciousness across the entire galaxy, speaking directly to every member of every species at once. "Children of the stars," the Keeper's voice echoed in millions of minds. "Witness what is happening here. The humans offer a solution that could end 3,000 years of fear. Do not let pride and old hatred destroy this chance for peace." Across the galaxy, ordinary people began to understand what was really happening in the Veil Nebula. They saw the pain of the devourers, trapped and dying. They saw the courage of the human crew, risking their lives to save both species. And they began to demand that their leaders give the humans more time. Admiral Torvex found himself receiving thousands of messages from his own people, asking him to wait. Other fleet commanders reported the same thing. "1 more hour," Admiral Torvex said finally. "But that is all." Jake smiled. 1 hour is all we need. The quantum gateway opened 37 minutes later. It was beautiful, a swirling portal of light that led to a universe full of stars but empty of life. The devourers could feed there for millions of years without hurting anyone. One by one, the ancient beings began to pass through the gateway. As they left, each one touched the human minds briefly, sharing gratitude that had no words. "Thank you," the collective voice said as the last devourer prepared to leave. "You have given us something we thought was lost forever. Hope." "Will we see you again?" Jake asked. "Perhaps, when your species has grown wise enough to travel between universes safely. We will remember you, humans of Earth. We will remember that you chose understanding over fear." The portal closed, and the Veil Nebula was quiet for the first time in 3,000 years. Keeper Zarthul's voice spoke one last time. "Captain Morrison, the Galactic Council has voted. Humanity is hereby invited to join our community as full members. Your species has earned its place among the stars." Jake looked around his bridge at his exhausted but smiling crew. They had done it. They had saved the galaxy, freed an ancient species, and earned humanity a place in galactic civilization. "Set course for Earth," Jake said. "I think it's time to let people know they're not alone in the universe anymore." As the Liberty began its long journey home, Jake realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity's real adventure among the stars was just starting, and somewhere in a distant universe, ancient beings who had been enemies were learning to be friends, all because a human captain chose to listen instead of fight.